Hello everyone, I'm back again with an unusual video today. I wanted to kind of go ahead and talk about the night I had and what made me fall in love with movies. So kind of just a little bit of a storytelling video, definitely unusual for my normal YouTube channel, but I'm going to go ahead and get into it and talk about the movies I watched last night, and what made me fall in love with movies. So last night I hung out with my dad, and he had called me a couple nights ago, and he was telling me, hey, Lisa, which is his wife, she's out of town for the week. Come on over and bring some scary movies over. You know, he loves to watch like scary movies, horror stuff, raunchy comedies, things that he really doesn't get to watch with his wife much. So he got off work around midnight. I got off around midnight, right around 11:30. We ordered a pizza, and I brought over like 6 or 7 movies, and we decided on these 3. So we watched Revenge, we started with. A little bit slower, but it was kind of like, as he was calling it, he's like, hey, it's a good, kind of gets our feet wet for the night. So that's what we started with. Then we watched The Strangers Pray at Night. He was starting to get a little bit tired when we were watching this one until it kind of picked up. And then same with Sorority Row in the beginning. He's like, it's a little boring, and he was kind of starting to fall asleep, getting drowsy. But as soon as it was like the first kill started, he was wide awake after that. So that's what we watched third. So he enjoyed all 3 of them. I have seen all 3 of those numerous times. I saw Sorority Row in theaters with my buddy Chris. We were a big fan of it. Now, I had not seen the original House on Sorority Row until I had, like, well after I saw Sorority Row, because that came out in 2009. We used to go to the midnight shows at 12:01 a.m. My buddy Chris will remember it very well. Those were good times, really fun. Strangers Pray at Night was another one. I'm not sure if we saw it at 12:01 a.m., but I saw it with my buddy Chris as well. So that was not the greatest theatrical experience because people were really loud. There was a lot of disrespectful people in the theater. I had to use the washroom. I just drank way too much water, like 3 different times. So that's awful when you got to do that. And then Revenge, I saw, I don't know if it was at Walmart. I had seen it on the shelf, and I was like, oh, I got to get this. And I checked it out, and I was really into it. It's basically like I Spit on Your Grave and Last House on the Left, sort of. But it's like a rape revenge, but it's done in really good taste. It is directed and written by a woman, and I can't pronounce her name, but she did an awesome job directing this. I would love to see her and just do more work. Just an incredible job. So yeah, she should be directing more horror movies, because there has not been the greatest horror movies that have come out recently. So I would love to see her take on some more work, because she did a great job with Revenge. But yeah, it's done in good taste, because the rape is really done for the most part off of screen. So if you can't stomach things like that, but it's bloody. It's very bloody. There's a lot of blood. There's some incredible cinematography. It's a bit slow, but yeah, it's really good. Good acting too, actually. And I think her name is it Matilda Lutz or yeah, Matilda Lutz. She's beautiful. She is gorgeous. But yeah, so those are the 3 movies we watched last night. He really enjoyed Revenge, liked all 3 of them. I love all 3 movies. But yeah, so I kind of want to share a little bit about how I fell in love with movies. My dad and I have always watched movies together, always watched horror movies. I started watching movies at a really young age before I could even understand what they were. But I remember very clearly the first movie that I remember seeing in theaters, like adult film, was Anaconda. And, really enjoyed that one. It's got great nostalgia for me. You hear the term, a lot of people say nostalgia is a bitch. It is. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I remember it very well. Like, I remember seeing Deep Blue Sea, Lake Placid with my dad, a lot of those creature movies. But yeah, Anaconda kind of set the tone for me. First rated R movie I saw in theaters with my dad was Blade. At the time, you had to be 7 years old to get into a rated R movie. Now, you could just lie and tell them your son's 7. But yeah, it was kind of like a reward because I think it came out in August and my birthday was in July. So got to see that. And then I took a film class in high school, and that changed the way I saw film. Fell in love with it in a whole different light. Started watching things like I became obsessed with camera shots. In like cinematography and things like that. I never really learned too much about CGI and special effects, so I still don't know much about that. But when it comes to camera shots and like different camera angles, obsessed with it. That is something I've always been obsessed with ever since high school. One of my favorite movies and favorite scenes is Death Sentence. The way it's a single take shot. It's just in that like I looked up how they filmed that too because it's on multiple levels in like a parking garage, and they literally have a person on this third level or whatever, and then the person with the camera on the second level hands the camera, from what I've read online, to the person on the third level so that they can continue that shot. It's incredible. It's not edited, it's not cut. I don't know how long that single take is, but oh, it's so good. That parking garage scene in Death Sentence, one of my favorite films of all time. But yeah, I'm in love with that. This movie, Revenge, has some really like incredible shots, but some single take shots as well. But there's some things like I got obsessed with undertones and like connecting things in movies, and that's the kinds of things I learned about in high school. I mean, I watched Rebel Without a Cause, Singing in the Rain, Citizen Kane. Graduate is really like a good film too. So there was a lot of ones. On the Waterfront. So I ended up collecting all those from like Criterion and stuff like that. And I gotta rewatch them because it's been a long time. Psycho was another one. But yeah, so like that, I fell in love with film. I was 5 years old when I saw Anaconda because it came out in 97. But I wasn't 6 at the time yet because it came out in April, I think, of 97. And then Blade was like August of 98. So yeah, good times, very, very fun memories. But yeah, it's always been like my dad, when it comes to movies, very connected with my dad. So like, I absolutely love watching movies with my dad. Just, I enjoy it. He's a talker. He likes to talk during movies. He'll go to the show and he has a bunch of one-liners. Sometimes I'm like, Dad, shh, quiet. But when we saw Chucky, the Child's Play remake, it was really funny. And luckily the whole entire theater laughed when he said this. But the beginning of the movie starts, the new Child's Play remake, and my dad screams, he shouted, "That ain't fucking Chucky." And because he didn't know, he didn't see a trailer, he didn't know that it was a completely different doll. And the entire theater started laughing. So luckily they laughed. But yeah, no, he's got those one-liners when he watches movies with us. But yeah, like we did a trivia night with my buddy Will and Chris once, and just great times. Honestly, film means so much to me. That's kind of what I wanted to come on here and say. You know, I've met incredible people through the Instagram community, incredible people through YouTube. I've done live streams. I've participated in live streams. I just love talking about films. My dad and I love to dissect and break apart a movie. He never like really took film class. He doesn't quite understand camera angles and things like that. Doesn't get into that. But he loves to talk about a movie afterwards. I'm the kind of person, and I have a friend named Caprice on Instagram. Her and I could talk about just one movie for like 6 hours. We could break it down. I've told her before, I feel like our like movie chemistry, you know what I mean? I'd love to do a podcast with her or somebody eventually, because I love talking about movies and I love breaking down movies. And people have such a different opinion on movies, you know? I sometimes hate a film that other people love, and I get the chance to talk to them, and I'm like, what did you love about it? And sometimes I'm missing something, or I didn't understand something, and they can help me understand it, and I find the movie in a different vein or a different light. So film is subjective. We're not always going to enjoy. I can't stand it when people think that their opinion is the only one that matters. It's not. You can love a film that others hate and still be friends with them. You're allowed to have a difference in opinion on movies and anything in life and still be friends. unfortunately, I feel like people struggle with that. But yeah, I mean, I love breaking down film. I love talking about movies. It is such a passion of mine. Uh, you know, I love it's so much fun to talk about movies, so much fun to watch a movie. And when you fall in love with a movie, like I remember watching Peanut Butter Falcon in theaters, and my buddy could see the movie hit me really, really hard. And the ending song at the end of Peanut Butter Falcon, if you've seen it, but I sat there and I couldn't really speak, couldn't move. I was just kind of in tears at the end of it. It was just such a good movie, just made me so emotional. And my buddy just kind of waited for me like I was the last one to leave the theater. I waited until the credits rolled, just listened to that song. And a movie called Disconnect is another one. I watched that a couple of years ago for the first time ever. A friend had recommended it to me, blind bought it. One of my top 10 favorite films of all time. I was in tears at the end of that movie. It's an emotional movie, very emotional, very heavy, but sometimes acting can make you cry. Like at the end of Captain Phillips, Tom Hanks acting alone at the very end of Captain Phillips puts me in tears. Not because it's super sad. It's based on a true story and everything. I wasn't overly blown away by the emotion. I was blown away by his acting. I thought that was one of the greatest acting performances I've ever seen in my life. Tobey Maguire in Brothers blows me away. That scene where he's like, "I'm drowning, Tommy." That movie is incredible. I love that movie mostly because Tobey Maguire gives one of the greatest, in my opinion, one of the greatest performances I've ever seen. But yeah, I know this video is all over the place. I just wanted to share my love and passion for movies with you guys. Tell you what made me fall in love with film. Share a little bit about my night last night. Show you the movies I watched. Tell you a little bit about my relationship with my dad and just how much we love film. He'll talk to me. He'll call me. We watched Frozen, the one with the ski lift, where they get stuck on the ski lift. He called me a week later. He's still talking about it. He called me a week later, and he's like, "I can't get that movie out of my head." And he's still talking about it. And I love that. You can see the smile on my face talking about it, and I hope you can hear the passion in my voice. But I love that because I'm the same way. I'm okay with that. Now, I have friends that I love to death, but when a movie ends, and they love movies, but when a movie ends, it ends and they can let it go. I'm the kind of person, you've heard the term, don't take your work home with you. I take my movies home with me, especially if it's heavy. A comedy like American Pie, I just enjoy it. I love American Pie, probably one of my absolute favorite comedies of all time, but it's not something that means a ton to me. It was a huge part of my childhood. Very fun memories watching it with my friends, but it's not the kind of film that sticks with me and says, wow, there was heavy, usually that's dramas. I love horror movies, absolutely love horror movies. Slashers are my favorite, but they're not my favorite films of all time. When you look at my top 10, top 15, top 20 favorite films of all time, it's usually drama movies, super emotional movies that'll make me cry. Cruel Intentions, Backdraft, Men of Honor, The Town, Death Sentence, Black Hawk Down. Those are some of my favorite films of all time that you know how you fall in love with the movie so much, you don't know what to say. You're like speechless. Yeah, those are those kinds of movies. Disconnect, Peanut Butter Falcon did that for me. I just love that. It's rare, and that's why it means so much when I find a film that I watch, especially like just laying down, sitting on a chair, whatever, watching it right behind me on this TV, and it hits you so hard where you can't move. There's so many. This Is Where I Leave You, another one with, I believe that's Jason Bateman, Tina Fey. It's so funny. There's emotion in it. I love that movie so much. It was another one that a friend recommended. I blind bought it. I watched it and I was just like, it didn't make me cry at any point, but it reminded me of my love for movies and what made me fall in love with movies. You ever watch a movie where you're just like, yep, this is why I love movies. And you just almost could put a tear in your eye, and you just say, this is why I love movies. This is what made me fall in love with movies. I love watching this, feeling this. It's just that is what made me fall in love with movies. So when I get to experience that with something new, it's unbelievable. Top Gun Maverick was a great theatrical experience. One of the best theatrical experiences ever. I want to go check it out in Dolby. I didn't even get the chance to yet. But another one that kind of reinvigorated and reminded me why I love movies. It was so much fun. It didn't... Are there politics in it? Yeah, almost every movie has that. But it was just... Nothing was shoved in your face. It was so good, so well done, it's so entertaining, good cast. It's just a fun theatrical experience. And it reminds you why you enjoyed going to the theater, because for a while that was questionable. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed me talking about movies and horror movies and my relationship with my dad and what made me fall in love with movies. I'd love to hear your story. What made you fall in love with movies? What was the first movie you remember seeing in theaters? Things like that. What movies have had such a profound impact on your life? I feel like movies have the ability to change, to impact people, to make a difference. You know that like some people blame movies for like shootings or murders or school shootings, whatever it is. It's like, no, you can't do that. But I hate that. And I think Scream and Wes Craven touched on that a little bit. When movies don't create psychos, psychos make movies more creative, or movies make psychos more creative. But I think that there's movies out there for me that actually do impact me, and have had a very big impact on my life. Helped me through some, whether it's tough times, or inspired me to make a change in my life. Be better, be a better person. I think movies can do that. I like movies that are realistic, and sometimes I like where I just get an escape. And then sometimes I love it when there's not a happy ending. I'm not the kind of person, if you've ever seen Buried, it's probably my favorite movie ending ever with Ryan Reynolds. I'm not the kind of person who needs a happy ending. I don't think the superhero always needs to live. That's why I'm kind of not a fan of Disney. But yeah, I don't hate Disney. I just don't really respect them because they hate physical media. But I don't need happy endings in movies. And so, yeah. But I'm going to stop this video because I'm just rambling. But I hope you enjoyed it like I said. Please feel free to comment and let me know your story and what made you fall in love with movies. But I hope you have a great week ahead. I'll be doing some unboxing videos here. Tomorrow, which is Monday, I will be doing my live stream. It's going to be week 2, and we're going to be covering round 1 and looking ahead to round 2 in the boutique label tournament. So be sure to tune in for that, and I will talk to you guys probably then. Have a good one.